Okay, I just wanted to turn the music down a little bit. I love the music though. It's like super inspirational for me. Um, so today I wanted to talk about writing a novel, writing that first draft. How to start. It's a bit overwhelming, but breaking it down, I came up with a couple different things. The first part is why write. So that made me really think, why do I want to write something? I'm doing this because I have a story to be told. Am I writing because I just want to write? Am I writing because I think it's going to be the next Harry Potter? Am I writing because I think that I have something world changing? Um, but I think that the why write is a very important question that needs to sort of be answered before starting to write, because if you don't know why you're writing, you won't know what you're writing, and then it's just going to all become a mess from there. So, the second thing that I came up with as far as what I need to realize is emotion. What is the emotion that I want to portray here? Do I want someone to read a story and feel happy? Do I want, in the end, do I want them to feel sad? Do I want the reader to feel like they're motivated? Um, why don't I ask in chat, if you're writers, why do you write? And what emotion do you want to come from your writing? This is a safe place, so you can feel free to share. If anyone's not being safe, they will be gone very quickly. But if you can share why you write, or what emotion, are you looking to get an emotion? Are you looking to get something from your readers as well as from yourself? I'm gonna just go on to the next one here. Maybe someone will type in there why they write or what emotion they're thinking of. The next one is the message. Is this like some kind of Aesop's fable where there's going to be a moral to the story? Is there going to be a philosophical message in the, like, layered in the book that's not told to people? What is the message that this book is trying to send? If your why you're writing was to be world changing, what is this world changing message, and how are you going to get this world changing message out there? If you are writing because you're writing a business book, what are you trying to give to the readers? Are you trying to give them a way to be a better leader then? Or I don't know. What kind of message are you trying to get out there? So that's one thing that just really, really made me think. Um, this, I, okay, so I've been watching a lot of writing stuff, and a lot of people are like, write what the readers want. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think you should write what anyone wants. I think you should write what you want to write, because if you're just writing for someone else and you're not doing it for yourself, maybe, I'm not sure you're going to, I don't know, get what you're trying to get out there if you're just writing for everything else. So it sort of made me think, what do I like? What do I like to read? I mean, I like reading fantasy, so writing fantasy, would probably be a good way for me to go. But if you absolutely hate horror books, and you hate blood and you hate gore, but there's a big following for blood and gore right now. There's a big following for horror books, but you don't like them. I really think that that's something that would come off in writing. You're not writing for someone else. You are. You probably want to write a book and sell a book. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you think you're watching a video game and you came to the wrong place. That's okay, you can still be here. But if you're writing something just for the sake of writing what other people want, I don't think that you're going to get out of it what you want to get out of it, which leads us back to the why do you write question. So, does anyone want to share why they write? We'll go back to that first question. Why do you write? Why do you want to write? Okay. That's okay. Quiet people. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with being quiet. You don't have to share why you write. Oh, I have one. I write because Killer Capybara 1231 says, I write because people tell me I'm good at writing. Well, hey, that's why you write then. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's why you write. And if you're good at it, and occasionally I get fulfillment from it, what kind of fulfillment do you get from writing? Do you feel good because you have an impact on someone? Do you feel fulfilled because you got a message that you wanted to share across? What kind of fulfillment do you get from your writing? You convince yourself that Killer Capybara 1231 says, I convince myself that I am really good at writing. And sometimes it's a message for myself. I really like that. A message for yourself. That's great. That's really good. I mean, that goes back to what we were talking about, the message. What is the message? If it's a message for yourself, I think that's the whole point. Like I was saying before is... Yeah, exactly. So I was looking at a first draft of some things that I wrote, and it was absolutely terrible. I looked at it, I saw it, and I didn't want to see it. I wanted to unsee it. But yeah, that's a really cool message. Don't be afraid to I don't know if I can say that word, but Killy Capybara says, don't be afraid to F things up here. If that's the message that you're trying to share, that's a message for everyone. That's a great message for everyone. So, can I ask you then, what do you like to write? Okay, Killy Capybara says that was actually the message in my most recent writing, and I actually kind of convinced myself. That's great. So what do you like writing? Is this like a straightforward kind of you can do it type of motivational things that you're writing? Or is it something like maybe a sci-fi with a deep-seated story with the message of don't be afraid to F things up in a sci-fi sort of way? It was a short story. Okay. Is that what you like to read too, is short stories? Right. Killer Capybara 1231 says, where I get visited by an older me, take a walk in the park. Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of like a sci-fi fantasy thing. Doesn't have the patience for long stories anymore. Well, I think that can go back to why do you write? Use it as motivation. If you get fulfillment from it and you're good at it, use it as motivation. I'm really good at this. This makes me feel good. If you use the why you write as a motivation for writing, I think that you'll get more fulfillment from it. And you'll want to do it more, because the more you do it, the more you realize you're good at it. And other people are going to tell you that you're good at it. And maybe you can come out with the next bestseller. That could be a reason to write. I'm not sure if that's a good reason to write, but if you're writing for yourself, does it matter? So I'm going to go into the next one, which is where do you write? Where should you write? Do you have to sit at a desk and write? Do you go to a secret place under a special tree and write? Where should you write? And I think the right answer to this is you should write wherever you feel most comfortable. Personally, I like laying on my bed, face down. Well, not face down because I wouldn't be able to see, but laying like on my belly, propped up, with a notebook on the bed in front of me, just sort of laying there, lounging and writing. I really like it when the sun comes down on me. It's like kind of warmth, and that puts me in my cozy place. But maybe you are a desk writing person. Maybe you want to, or you have to sit in front of a desk and write, but you have your whole writing space set up, and that's how you do it. But I think that's a very important question. You don't even have to write in the same place every day. Maybe one day you write at the desk, and one day you write sitting in the bed, and one day you write sitting in your couch. I don't think it really matters where you write as much as if you feel comfortable writing there, and if you feel like you can say what you want to say and get out what you want to get out there. So now that we sort of got the why, where, what kind of things down, let's talk about some of the... I write in my head at 2 a.m. when I'm trying to sleep. Killer capybara. And then burp up what I remember onto a notepad in the morning. You know what's really funny is I actually find myself most creative when I'm trying to sleep too. And I'll be laying in my bed thinking of the coolest thing for my character to do or to be. And I will actually take out the notepad on my iPhone and type in on my little, just on my notes on my iPhone, and just like type out what this thing is that I thought of. And then the next day I'll usually put it into a word processor or somewhere else. But it'll stay in my iPhone as a note, and there was a while that I forgot to copy it from there, and after a while I got a lot of notes in my iPhone. But it's funny. Now I actually keep a notebook by my bed because I find out it's a lot more not economical, but I guess easier to have a notepad next to my bed, so I can just sort of roll over, take the note, and put it back. And then in the morning I would take my notebook and put it by my computer, so I make sure I copy my notes in. But I think writing when you're falling asleep, your brain's like half there, half in, who knows where, but who knows where, I think, is what makes the great stories, or where those great stories come from, is when your brain's only half there. It's the other side, the who knows where, that's gonna start writing that story. So the first thing that I started doing was a synopsis. What's a cool line? Who knows where is where your stories come from. So with a synopsis, that's basically your premise of your story. So we talked about why you write, and to write what you want to write, but what is it that you're writing? What is the summary? What is your paragraph, the thing that's going to be on the back of a book? What is the back of your book going to say? Well, now lately they say the latest reviews from the New York Times, and Bobby said this is an amazing book. But back in the day, the back of books, they used to actually say what they were about, and they would give a synopsis, like I don't know, let's say the Harry Potter books, and say Harry Potter is a young boy who discovers that he's a wizard, and he's going to wizard school, and lots of things can happen to him at wizard school. Instead of, the New York Times says this is a great book. The synopsis is what used to be on the back of the book. So basically, if you don't know what your book is going to be about, that's one of the things that I discovered is it's hard to start writing if you don't know what you're writing about. But once you have like sort of a summary, like Bob and Jill are going up the hill, and they're not going to fall down, and if they fall down, they're going to get back up again, and what's going to cause them from getting back up again. But once you have that basic idea, you sort of you can set out like an outline from that. So a summary is important. The other thing that comes from the summary is going to be our log line. And the log line is like a short and condensed version of the summary. So I've looked around a lot, I've done a little bit of research on it, and everyone says it should be one sentence, and it should be a statement, and not a question, because that's something else, but a statement. So we're going to take our summary and take one line out of the summary, and that's going to sum up the entire book. Now that sounds crazy. How can you sum up entire book? But again, like Harry Potter, Harry is going to become a wizard. He's going to wizarding school and going to have a lot of challenges. I mean, that is one sentence, and it really sums up every single Harry Potter book, and those are a lot of them. So the log line is just something super short, sweet, to the point. Okay, so I said not a question. Why did I say not a question? The next part's the dramatic question. So from everything that I've seen, the dramatic question is something that drives the story forward. Something the reader wants to know. Something that stays in the reader's mind. So what I've discovered from this, from writing my own dramatic question, is it not only stays in the reader's mind, but it stays in your mind, and it helps drive your story forward. So when you have something in your mind and you know what the dramatic question is, you can always come back to that. Okay, will Bob and Jill ever get to the top of the hill? Maybe that's the dramatic question. Okay, so Bob and Jill fell down, something stopped them from getting back up, and I'm stuck. I have writer's block. I don't know what to do anymore. Well, go back to the dramatic question. Will Bob and Jill reach the top of the hill? Okay, well, maybe I need to answer this question first. Yes, they will. Okay, well, to drive my story forward then, I need to figure out how they're going to get back up if they're not getting back up. So I saw this crazy thing the other day, and it's either German or Russian guy's named Chekhov or something like that, his gun. So it's some kind of theory that they use in theory crafting books. And what it is basically, if you have a place in your story and you're stuck, and you can't just be like, oh, the guy pulls out a gun. You know, where did he get the gun from? You know, that's super convenient, he had a gun. But it's to plant a seed several pages back. So, let's go to the story of Bob and Jill going up the hill and falling down. And maybe in the beginning I can talk about how Bob has carabiners and rock climbing equipment or something. And then, 2 pages, 3 pages, 6 pages later, when Bob and Jill can't pick it back up, it's not convenient that he had rock climbing equipment. We already knew he had rock climbing equipment from 2 before, and maybe he didn't need to use it. So I thought that was a really, really cool principle. I'm going to just go back to my main screen here, because those are all the slides I actually put up. But there's one other thing that has really helped me when I've been starting to write, and it's the show, don't tell method. And it's really like, okay, Bob and Jill went up a hill. Well, great, cool. That's super not fun. Super boring. But it could be like, Bob felt the fresh grass between his toes as he gingerly took a step forward. And just making it a lot more interesting. Now, this is where I went back and I read my first draft and I was like, wow, I'm just telling people everything. But I think that's okay in a first draft. Who's going to see the first draft? Maybe a couple friends, an editor, a couple people. A couple people can see the fact that I wrote Bob went up a hill. Bob walked up the hill. Okay. But in the end, when I go through and I have to pick different words and just really expand on the original ideal of Bob going up the hill, feeling the grass between his toes, smelling the fresh cut grass, whatever it is. I really think that that's what's going to change a first draft into more of a polished type start of something big. And I think Killer Capybara brought up something earlier, saying that they don't have patience to write a long story, so they write short stories. But what if your short stories were chapters? What if your short stories used all the same characters? Are they still short stories? Or are you now writing the chapters? Chapters to a book. Something that could be big. Something that could be bigger than a short story. Honestly, that's all that I wanted to talk about today. Sort of the different pieces of a beginning and the sort of whys, the what, the where, the how do I write. I don't know if anyone else wants to share why they write, or if anyone else has a different view on why they write, what they like, where they write. Does anyone have anything to share on the why, the what, the where, the how, the who? Who do they write about? Who are they writing for? Nothing. That's all right. That's all right. So I actually did write something the other day. And it's always scary to share stuff with people when you don't know who is going to be listening. I don't know who any of you are. It's something like a very vulnerability. You're sharing something that you don't necessarily share with other people. You're sharing something that, you know, like I said, a first draft. No one's supposed to see it, but it's something to be vulnerable to share it with people. So the premise of the book that I would like to write is a dying earth fantasy about redemption through knowledge, which kicks off on a dusty road with the loss of magic in the land. The prophecy does not say the protagonist will be the chosen one, and the gods cannot be trusted. That definitely needs to be elongated is not the right word. It needs to be a lot more concise. I think it kicks off on a dusty road probably shouldn't be in the premise, honestly. Loss of magic I feel is pretty important. It doesn't mention the protagonist by name, which is an afterthought that I should probably put that in there. Someone else actually gave me that suggestion as a critique, and I 100% agree. The protagonist needs a name in the premise. That's kind of silly to not have it in there. The logline that I have is so similar to the premise that I'm not even sure it's a logline, if you want me to be honest. A dying earth fantasy where magic has disappeared from the world and the gods cannot be trusted. I think I need to talk about bringing the magic back as part of the logline. I'm not really sure about that one though. It might be too specific and giving away too much, and you know, you don't want a spoiler alert in your logline. Probably not the best idea. My dramatic question, which for now I'm going to leave out the name since I didn't tell it in my premise, is if the protagonist is not the chosen one, who is, and will they bring magic back to the world? So I think it's better if I just say the names in both of them. I'm going to see if there was a couple people. Cat, I'm not sure if you're in the chat or if you wanted to share. XCat, did you want to share anything that you wrote? If not, that's totally okay. I know sharing for live people are very scary. If anyone else has anything that they wrote, a pitch or anything, you can join the community Discord by hitting social below, and you can just go into the room that's called Waiting to Share. You're more than welcome to come and share things. Open yourself up a little bit. Take a step into that vulnerability window. Oh, I just shared it on Discord. Oh, cool. Awesome. So you wrote it in Discord. That's great. That works too. Do you want to read it? Do you want to read what you wrote? You're writing the second. Look at that. Wow. Okay. You must be very inspired today. That's not a bad thing at all. A lot of inspiration. Sometimes inspiration comes and you never know where it's going to come from. I'm just going to jump into the Waiting to Share channel just in case you want to come in there. But that's amazing. Yeah, I see that now. Possible book idea. Possible book idea number 2. Wow. That's great. But again, that shows that inspiration can come from anywhere, and you never know when that inspiration is going to come through. Yeah, so I don't really have anything else. I thought this was going to take an hour. Apparently, it did not take an hour for me to sort of go through inspirations and everything like that. So I don't have anything else to share today, other than when I do stream again, it's going to be talking about characters. Because now that so my synopsis, yes, it needs to be developed a little bit more. My logline might not be even close to perfect. But I think I'm going to develop those 3, the question, the logline, and the synopsis. And the next time I come back then is going to be a lot more on characters. Talking through the process of how I wrote the characters, what the characters are, and sort of just giving an overview of the different characters that will be in my book. Am I the only one who can't find the stuff to be critiqued? I actually made it a hidden channel. That's why. Give me a second. I can add you to that channel. Who is the person looking for that? What's your name on Discord? You tell me your name on Discord, I can add you in the Stuff to Be Critiqued channel. Perfect. I will add you into that channel right now. There we go. Just because I don't want everyone to be able to see everything, because, you know, these might be personal, and if you're sharing it in there, you might not want it to go to everyone in the world and everyone on YouTube. So no worries, I put you in there, Enoch. I'm hoping that through this process of me streaming, that I'll be able to hold myself accountable to my writing, and maybe we can hold each other accountable. And holding each other accountable, well, hopefully it will help us get everything done, you know? Hold you accountable, you hold me accountable, and we're going to get through this together. I find accountability is one of the things that I struggle with, which is one of the reasons that I've decided to sort of stream my whole process in writing, because listening to someone else talk about their ideas and how they get things might be helpful. And then, like I said, being able to critique others and have others critique you is going to be a lot more beneficial than me just writing a bunch of stuff, looking at it and be like, oh, well, that's crap. Doesn't really help me in any way, shape, or form. So feel free to join the Discord. It's on the social link. You just click there. It should open right in Discord. And if you want to be added to a channel, please let me know. I don't want to put more than probably 4 or 5 people into each critique group, just because, again, this is, you know, sort of a vulnerability thing, and I want to make it so that people feel comfortable sharing things. And again, this isn't to attack people. You don't want to attack people. You're not here to attack people. You know, you're here to give critique. Criticism is okay. Telling someone that's absolute crap, please don't write anything ever again, not super cool. So please don't do that. Also, if you plan on coming back or you like what we did here today and you want to hear more about the characters, make sure you follow on Twitch. So hit the follow button down there. That way you'll be notified when I put up the next schedule and when the live stream will be for that. So again, I really don't have anything else planned. Thank you for following Killer Capybara. Hopefully, I'll be able to do this once a week, and then I don't know how long it's going to take to write a novel, but you know, like I said, maybe we can do this together. We'll all hold each other accountable, and who knows, maybe we can start our own publishing house with this. I have no idea. All I know is that I need help staying on track, and it sounds like I'm not the only person out there. So, being in a group might make this more easier and more enjoyable. So that's all I have. Thank you very much for coming in to listen. Have a good day.